All right, so in this video, we're going to go over why understanding the spiritual laws of the universe, which is reflected in the natural laws we see in a natural world, means success in life and business. So I just want you to think about a couple of things before I really go into this. The first is that if you want to look at the secrets of the universe, right, you're looking at frequency, vibration, and energy. And that was from genius Nikola Tesla. He had stated that. And I want you to think about this next statement, that we are manipulating, in a good sense, energy with our minds all the time, okay? So going into these laws, I want to say that first, the understanding of these laws goes way beyond the intellectual understanding of them. Real understanding is when you apply the information that you are gathering in this particular video. Okay, and it's also a skill. It's a skill like anything else in life. So there are 7 major spiritual laws of the universe, and I'll go over a brief description of each law and how it applies to your conscious creation in your life and your business. So in conscious creation, what we mean is you're very intentional about what you desire to see manifested in your life. This is not default thinking. Meaning you have pondered, you have thought about it, you've made decisions about your lifestyle, about your relationships, about your marriage, about your business revenue, about your health, etc. And your decisions also include goal setting. So the application of the 7 major natural laws of the universe, spiritual natural laws, is really a form of leverage. This type of knowledge is going to get you farther ahead than, let's say, someone who's completely ignorant to this knowledge. So we find that what we are consciously creating in our mind, these are invisible ideas, will manifest physically with greater ease and speed. So let's get right into it and raise our level of awareness. The first law is the law of perpetual transmutation. So in other words, energy is always moving into form. So how you think and feel about, and you fill in any blank, must become physical manifestation according to law. And you heard, I believe it was Napoleon Hill who stated that whatever you revere, that's a positive emotion when you revere something, or whatever you fear, right? It will become real. So note that. It's not only what you positively feel about, it's also what you really negatively feel about. It will become real. It will become physically manifested. So you may have heard of this quote by Henry Ford: whether you think you can or you think you cannot, you are right. You think I can, there is an associated, if you think you can, there's an associated feeling, let's say, of excitement, and it will move into form. If you think you cannot, there is an associated feeling, possibly feeling stuck or feeling fearful, and therefore it will move into form. So the images you predominantly hold in your mind also often materialize in your life. So make sure that your images, the images of health or your physical state, your mental state, your money state, your relationships, the states of your relationships are truly what you want and truly of your own intentional design, and not the images from an outside source, let's say media, let's say from parents, any outside source. You have to be discerning what you allow to be emotionally involved with, okay? The second law is the law of relativity. This means that nothing is really good or bad, big or small, normal or abnormal, unless you relate it to something else, right? This is really associated with how we perceive things. right? Like, let's look at a perception of, oh my gosh, this debt is so big. Well, compared to what, right? Or this task is too hard, okay? But compared to what? Or our relationship is not working. Well, compared to what? This is all about the power of perception, and we can use it to empower ourselves or to disempower ourselves. And that's the key thing, right? I had a client message me once about a sale that she made at a particular price point. And I messaged her back saying, oh my gosh, well, if you did 10 those types of sales per month, that would give you a strong six-figure income. And she began to think about it, and she was like, oh, that is so true. And she hadn't really realized it. When before, making $10,000 per month was very far off, right? What she thought was possible. So the possibility of $10,000 cash flow in a monthly sales, interestingly enough for this particular client, was just one of 4 business ventures that she was a part of. So you see how when we look at how we perceive things and compare to what this law of relativity, we can use it to our advantage, okay? Then we have the third law, the law of vibration and attraction. And this subject is very, very deep. Just know this, that the law of vibration is the primary law, where the law of attraction is the secondary law. So there are primary and secondary laws throughout the universe, right? Conscious awareness of your vibration is basically your feelings, right? So emotion itself is energy in motion, emotion. So emotion is the conscious awareness of the vibration that you're in. Emotional intelligence is vital to cultivate when living a life of design. So just remember, the primary cause, the primary law is vibration, the secondary is attraction. Then we have the fourth law, which is the law of polarity. I relate this to the good wolf in you and the bad wolf in you. I often describe this law in this way because there's a part of you that has a positive polarity, that trusts, that has faith, that loves, that unites, that sees the good. And then there's a part of you that has a negative polarity, that doubts, that worries, that fears, that feels discouraged. There is a polarity in any situation. For example, you can look at a painful, triggering situation and only see it as a negative situation. But for someone who has raised their level of awareness and they study this type of information and they apply this information, they know that there's an opposite side to the same coin, that the triggering, painful experience is actually an opportunity to look at the wound inside that wants to be healed, and therefore that's why the trigger is there. Otherwise, there would be no trigger. So we can look at any challenge that's very difficult, and we can look at it from perspective of, this is too difficult, I can't do it. Or, using the law of polarity, we can look at the challenge as an opportunity to step up to the plate. And there are great gains when we step up to the plate, even though it is very challenging. And one of the biggest gains is our character builds, correct? So take note, what is the gateway to the bad wolf? In rearing its ugly head, meaning there's 3 things Napoleon Hill talks about in Think and Grow Rich. You must really be careful of worry, doubt, and fear. They can be, if they're not caught early, it can be a very debilitating state of mind to be in. And the gateway to the bad wolf in a person is the emotion of discouragement. I just want to make that note here in this particular video. So discouragement is the gateway negative frequency leading to more powerful negative emotions of worry, doubt, and fear. Okay. So what is really the antidote to this, right? When we master our polarity, the antidote is we must cultivate love. We must cultivate faith. We must cultivate hope. These types of things. And now, Law 5 is the law of rhythm. So we see this in nature, right? We see that the tide comes in and the tide goes out, that night follows day and day follows night. You can't escape this. Like, even if you're in the poles where it could be 6 months of day, it still follows 6 months of night, right? What goes up must come down. This is a very, very important law to understand when it comes to extremes with emotion. And remember, emotion is so vital to command, right? Because it's frequency. It's our own energy in motion. Our emotion is our conscious realization of the vibration that we're in. If you want to look at, I'm going to say this over and over again, it's in repetition, you really get it. When you look at the secrets of the universe, we must look at frequency, vibration, and energy. So when we look at the law of rhythm, we want to master it. We're talking about emotional neutrality. You can feel bad about a mishap or a disappointing situation, but come back to emotional neutrality. You can feel amazing because of a massive win, but again, come back to emotional neutrality. Andrew Carnegie mentioned Napoleon Hill in the book Mental Dynamite that when we're talking about success and mastery, it means, this is a really key note here, we must master both the negative and the positive emotions. Now, why would Andrew Carnegie say this? He must have known about the law of rhythm. When we master emotional neutrality, our conscious creation is clearer and more powerful. Take note of how I mentioned this in my other video about how to overcome circumstances that are difficult, right? Through real thinking. Note that video. That's related to emotional neutrality and also commanding the law of rhythm. And then we have law number 6, and that is the law of cause and effect. In other words, whatever we put out will return to us, right? This is related to the golden rule. The golden rule is known throughout all the major belief systems, throughout all of humanity. It's truth. Everyone's consciousness causes what is observed with the 5 senses in the physical realm. In other words, physical manifestations are the effect. So our consciousness, in the way that we command consciousness, which is through mind, and mind is movement, that's the cause. And what we observe in our physical experience is the effect or the physical manifestation. So in other words, we can also say that for every action, there's going to be a reaction that is equal and meeting the original action halfway. You've got to move for the universe to move for you too, right? So when we want to be guided towards something through a higher intelligence, infinite intelligence, God, universe, like any GPS, you've got to move first in order for the GPS to give you the next direction, correct? Okay. So keep that in mind as well. That's related to the law of cause and effect. So we first cause manifestation of a dream or a stretch goal, we could say, through our consciousness, through thought, feeling, and taking action. And then we have the physical manifestation. And now we have the law of gender or gestation. So like a physical seed that is planted in the right soil, there is a time period when that seed in the soil incubates. The seed then in the soil will crack open once it's nurtured, that is, right? It needs that sunlight, it needs the nutrients from the soil, it needs that water, right? And it will begin to sprout in the soil. And then from that sprouting, it will push its way up through the soil and make itself visible above the soil's surface. The same way that a physical seed, remember I told you that the spiritual laws are mirror reflected in the natural world. Our thoughts are like spiritual seeds. Our emotions are like vibrational seeds too, okay? So our thoughts are like spiritual seeds and our emotions are like vibrational seeds. And when we plant these spiritual seeds, these thoughts in our subconscious mind, which is like a soil of our mind, and plant these emotional vibrational seeds into what we can call the quantum realm, because everything is frequency, vibration, energy. These seeds, the spiritual and vibrational seeds, will also incubate They gestate, and then there will be a physical manifestation. It will be birthed into the physical realm. Because when you look at idea, the term idea, the root word of the word idea actually means child. So ideas are birthed, they're given, they are incarnated, so to speak. So in conclusion, everything in the universe moves according to law. And we live in a thought universe. You and every aspect of your life, your business is part of the universe. And so these universal laws pertain to your personal and your business life. And no one is exempt. You are not exempt. Notice how when we talk about the law of perpetual transmutation, the law of relativity, the law of vibration attraction, the law of polarity, the law of rhythm, the law of cause and effect, and the law of gender or gestation, we are essentially pointing out how energy moves within you and through you by these laws. There's a grand order to everything. So everyone's mind, whether a person knows it or not, is manipulating this energy all the time. Again, I want to end this video by quoting Nikola Tesla. If you want to know the secrets of the universe, think in terms of frequency, vibration, and energy. I would love for you to comment below and let me know what your greatest takeaway was from this video. Make sure to like and subscribe and share this video with anyone who you know would greatly benefit by learning this information. Until next time, I'll see you in the next video.